and a very good morning to all of you. Welcome to Renault E-Ways, a unique event dedicated to the mobility of today and tomorrow, an event that gathers men and women who are taking tangible actions to meet the challenges towards zero emissions. We're coming to you live from Hangar Y, which is a absolutely magnificent industrial building just outside of Paris in Meudon. I have the pleasure to have with me on stage today Yasmine Assef, Program Director for Energy and Electric Vehicle Charging Infrastructure for Renault Group. How are you, Yasmine? Are you good?
Very good, thank you.
Fantastic. And connected with us from Munich, Germany, Thomas Raffeiner, Founder and Chief Executive Officer of the Mobility House. Thomas, can you hear us? How are you? Good, fantastic.
Bonjour.
So to face climate change, one of the major environmental issues we have to address, of course, is to increase renewable energies production and decrease CO2 emissions, thanks to a very smart electric mobility ecosystem. This challenge is actually being met at the moment in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, just off the western coast of Morocco. Welcome to Porto Santo. I don't know how to say it in Portuguese, but Porto Santo, the Europeans' first smart and small island with very, very big ambitions, and you're going to see why in a minute. Yasmine, we're going to get into detail about this subject. Can you tell us how and why this project was born and what the ambition is?
Yeah. So Porto Santo is an island in northeast of Madeira, 42 square kilometers. It's quite small island. And today, the main challenge that they face is that their energy consumption is fully based on fuel.
Fossil fuel. Yeah.
Fossil fuel. And whether it's for transport, cars, buses, etc., or for the production of the electricity. And the island is not connected to the main island of Madeira. It's isolated, so they have to import the fuel to be able to produce their electricity. We can say that today approximately 85% is fossil fuel is based on diesel generator, and 15% of renewable energy, wind, solar. So the ambition of going full electric, or I would say full fossil-free first, start with electrification of the transport. And that period we were contacted by Electricity of Madeira, who is the grid operator for the island of Madeira and island of Porto Santo, and they asked us how we can accompany them in this journey with the electric cars. Yeah, we co-designed with the Electricity of Madeira the concept based on the electric ecosystem that we have. So electric cars, intelligent charging, and usage of battery in second life. And since 2018, we can say that Porto Santo is the first smart island based on a free fossil, I would say, concept ecosystem.
So let's find out how it works. Thomas, I'm coming over to you. Tell us a little bit about this electric ecosystem. How does it work?
Well, the idea is very simple. We need sun, wind, electric cars, and a stationary storage system. When the sun is shining or the wind is blowing, we fill the battery of the vehicles, and at night, when the energy is available and we need the power, we take the energy from the cars and feed it back into the energy system. We call this vehicle-to-grid V2G. So basically, the electric cars have two roles. Number one, obviously, to provide mobility services and move people or goods from A to B. But second, also to have storage facilities to provide flexibility and to give power back when it's needed.
Okay, so tell us exactly how it worked. How did it all start out? You had some volunteers to begin with, I gather.
Exactly. We started off with 20 volunteers. Those were the police officer taxis. So we had 14 SOAs and 6 Kangoos. And they use it for their everyday use. Altogether, by the way, more than 300,000 kilometers since then. And then together with Renault and EEM, the utility, we installed around 40 public and private chargers. And then on top, we installed 2 stationary storage, by the way, made out of old car batteries from Renault vehicles. And last but not least, since March 2019, we have 2 additional SOAs with a particular software, a particular technology, this V2G technology, which basically allows those cars to absorb energy and feed it back when needed. Those cars help indeed to stabilize the voltage and the frequency on the grid, which is quite a task, by the way, if I may say that as an electrical engineer.
Why is it a task?
Well, it's a small island, sun is coming in, so you have by far too much energy. And if you don't do nothing, frequency rises, so you immediately have to interact. So this was the perfect playground to prove what the capability of an electric car is. And I'm very proud to say that since then it works very, very well. And we actually helped the grid to stabilize. It's better than ever before and cheaper than ever before.
What do the 5,000 inhabitants think? This is sort of a lab for the rest of the world, really, isn't it?
Well, it's new, obviously. And I have to say, the Porto Santo Smart Fossil Island initiative, which we are part of, has received quite a high and regular press coverage over the last years and had a very positive impact on the image of the island and the region, which is more than ever, I think, important for all of us. So the government is putting a lot of effort into promotion, and once you are on the island, you will see the concept. It's present all over. The inhabitants, so far, they are very happy, not just with the technology, because it works, obviously, but they're also enthusiastic about to make their island emission-free, and they're obviously also very impressed with the driving experience of the car. So the number of cars raised now from 20 to 40. Why? Because the inhabitants are starting to buy cars for themselves.
So tell us, what are the next steps? Maybe both of you can react on this question. What kind of challenges will you have to face? Thomas first.
Well, tons of challenges. We solve one problem, 10 others are on the table, but we solve the next one, and then that's how we start. 50% of the ways to get started. And the clear goal is obviously to make this island, at the end of the day, the planet emission-free. So we have to, as Yasmine said, we have to replace all the petrol and the diesel cars by electric vehicles. 40 today, 500 are needed. So we really need to have an ecosystem ready and to create a business model for the citizens to join the project. This is possible, and I'm sure it will happen over the next 2 or 3 years.
Yasmine, would you like to react?
I think that, Thomas said everything. The concept is easy to understand. People are really willing to participate, and they participate. However, the main challenge remains probably finding the business case. Finding a business case is how much finally the electricity will become cheaper if we use the electric mobility as storage. So this is key, and we will find it. It will take time, but we'll find it.
Are you doing also, because I'm thinking of this as a citizen, are you doing campaigns to sensitize inhabitants, to convince those that may not be convinced yet? Because it's quite difficult for certain to let go of their car and pass over to electric vehicles.
Exactly. What we did few campaigns of sensibilization. We invited the inhabitant and at that time the volunteers. So at the end we had 250 volunteers. So we explained the concept to them. We show how the technology is working. So that was quite impressive because it was the first time they also use electric cars. So they get also to use and to have fun with electric car that is really adapted with islands like Porto Santo and everywhere, by the way, but in this particular area. So yeah, communication is key. Then the change of mindset that you should have is important. If we want the concept if we want people to buy cars, more and more cars, and the cars are today still not fully affordable, saying that the Renault Zoe is the most affordable existing car in the market, but still, if people are doing only 20 kilometers a day, it is still expensive. So we think that with the new generation of car, we have presented the Spring at the beginning of this e-ways, that is even more affordable, people can go. But change of mindset, sharing, we will come to the concept of sharing the battery with the utility, the rest of the car for the mobility. This is also something important.
Okay, as I said earlier, Thomas is from the Mobility House. What does the Mobility House actually do, Yasmine, and why did you decide to work with them?
The Mobility House has a quite unique position. They know both the mobility and particularly the electric mobility side, and they know the energy. So these actors are, I mean, you don't have that much actor like the Mobility House in the market, to be honest, in Europe. So we started collaboration with them on different subjects since the launch of the electric cars, with infrastructure, with the stationary storage, etc. So naturally, when EEM contacted us, we designed the concept, we had the concept, but from a technology point of view, instead of developing ourselves, we think that working with startups and innovating startups like the Mobility House was the way to go.
Thomas, what is the scope of work of the Mobility House? Tell us what you do and what other projects you work on, I suppose.
Indeed, as Yasmine said, we are sitting in between two industries, the energy and the mobility industry, and that's also our scope and our role in this project. We need to make sure that those industries are linked together and brought together, so we actually provide the technology to do that. So we are a technology supplier, if you wish, and we are also operating the system on the island. That's our role.
Okay. And give us a little bit more detail on the part of the project that you're actually dealing with. How does it actually work?
Well, there's obviously several stakeholders, and we need to integrate all those actors. There are the solar and wind farms, there's the grid operators, there are the customers. At the end of the day, they need to drive. There are the electric vehicles, so we need to talk and communicate to the vehicles. What's your state of charge? When are you available? When are you needed? What's the battery temperature, etc., etc. And there's obviously also the stationary storage, because we also need to make sure that at the end of the day, the role of the car, of the vehicle to provide mobility service is not jeopardized. So having all this information and data together, we integrated this into a very decentralized, intelligent, local network. I don't want to go into that, but at the end of the day, at any point in time, if we talk about milliseconds and seconds here, we tell the car to either charge or uncharge. That's what we do. So you can see this as a very, very smart device where second by second, each car gets a trigger and say, you please charge, you stop, there is sun, why don't you take, what can you take, absorb the energy? That's the role of Mobility House. Quite a task, and it's new. Why is it new? Because the task or the problem didn't exist so far, because the systems, there were diesel generators and you either switch it on or off, and now you have hundreds, hopefully thousands one day, thousands of cars where you need to do that. That's the Mobility House technology.
Are you, this is a question maybe for both of you. Are you happy with the results of the project, Yasmine?
We're extremely happy, sorry, for the result of the project, yeah. We have done the first step, that is demonstrating that the concept is working. It's not just a concept, and in reality people are using, in reality a technology is behind it and is controlling the car. So yeah, I think that this is this was quite a challenge, and we did it. First results, we have we can say that the cars for 16% have used the energy, solar energy. That is also very good. We just are waiting for additional renewable energy to come in the island, so that this this percentage can raise. Today, obviously people are charging during the night, and during the night there is not enough sun. And that is why the wind generation is so important to come now in the island. So yeah, we have also, as a car manufacturer, very happy and satisfied, because we have sold our cars. People are happy with the car, and we have 40 additional electric vehicles sold. So yeah.
Thomas, from your point of view, are you happy with the way things have moved forward? Is it moving forward as you wish?
Oh yes, as an electrical engineer, and our vision and mission of the Mobility House to have, at the end of the day, an emission-free planet. That is true for mobility and energy. This is, in my opinion, the role model on this planet. Maybe planet Mars will follow, but on this planet, what we can do with electric cars. So I'm very, very happy, and this really needs to be replicated. The sooner the better.
We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Are there any remaining challenges to be faced, Yasmine?
Yeah, there's a few. We tackled some of them at the beginning. So we need we need first to have the mindset of the customers changing. They have to be convinced. And, but we also need to this, I mean, it's easy to say that they have to change, but probably the technology that we are providing should be easy to use, should be, for the customer journey should not change. If they want to live in a free fossil island, they have to live normally and they have to live as they did before. So this is probably the main challenge. The others is also, we talked about business model. So we need to have private investors. We need to have public investors. We had a very good support from the government of Madeira to launch this. And we can say that still before going 100%, I would say, fully autonomy instead in terms of economics, we still need to have a push from investors. So probably these are the most important challenges that we still have.
And from a technical point of view, Thomas, there's challenges on your side, I can imagine.
Yes, of course, but technology is an ongoing improvement. So we are very happy. We have 99.9, actually 100% upside so far. So the thing is up and running, and it needs to be larger, bigger, more efficient, more easy to use. But I don't see any challenge that cannot be overcome. So I'm very happy with the results so far. And I'm very sure in 2-3 years, we will look back and say, of course, how could we ever do it different?
That's very encouraging anyway. For those of you that are watching us, we will go on to a question and answer session in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to ask my last question. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to send them through to us now, and we'll do our best to reply to as many as we possibly can. Just to finish, guys, can Porto Santo, can this case be actually scaled up in other places in the world?
Yes, of course, and we have other examples that are coming. But not only in islands, the same concept can be also used in smart neighborhoods, in everywhere in cities, at smaller or bigger scale. So what we have demonstrated here is that the technology, the digital technology of the car, of startups, can really bring the ambition that we have. So yeah, this concept can be spread everywhere.
Thomas, you happy to go elsewhere with this project?
As I said, even planet Mars, we go everywhere, and an island not necessarily needs to be surrounded by water. It can be anything. What we need is renewable energy source. So we want solar and wind together with electric cars, and this is possible from the Bermudas to Bora Bora and other places.
Fantastic. Okay, well, let's move on to our question and answer session now. Let's see if we've got any questions coming in from those that have been watching us. Yes, a question for Renault. Are you going to implement similar solutions in other islands and cities? I think people want examples, Yasmine, if you have any.
Yeah, I can mention 2 examples. First of all, Brazil. The island of Fernando de Noronha, another very beautiful island that I encourage people who can travel now go and visit Fernando de Noronha. That is also a UNESCO, how do you say, World Heritage.
Heritage site.
And so this, our colleague from Renault Brazil are deploying the same concept of Porto Santo in Fernando de Noronha. So it's just starting, and I will be happy to talk about it, I hope, in few years. And there's another one, and again, this one in Switzerland. So Switzerland is not an island, but in the city of Yverdon-les-Bains, we work with a partner called Planair, and with Planair, we intend to deploy a microgrid. So basically the same concept in a nice place called Sunny Park. So yeah, I think that these are the concrete examples, but there are others that will come.
Next question for you, Thomas, I think. Could you share the first results of your experiments? We've kind of talked about... Yes, go for it.
Yes, I'm not quite sure. This is obviously a dynamic answer because the performance is increasing every day. So we have actually doubled the utilization of the renewables. So which means basically the wind farm that is there and the solar system that is there runs twice as long as before. And on the emission side, we have already taken out 15% of the emissions on the island. So with relatively little cars and few megawatts under management, we can achieve a lot. Obviously, the idea is not to waste any kilowatt hour produced by a solar system. So if we have more flexibility and more megawatts under management, we basically can absorb all the energy that is created. The funny thing is, usually, this is not just true for Porto Santo, but also true for Europe and parts of the US. Usually we have too much energy, so we have more wind and solar than we need. The issue is that we need to store it. So that's why the cars come in. So the results are very promising. And I think by the end of phase 3, we will then make sure that at least when we have peaks, that the grid and the frequency is improved even better. By now, by the way, just to give you a number, the frequency deviation is increased by 600%. So the grid is 6 times better than it was before, if you wish.
Thank you very much. Is it possible to measure yet the impact of the system in terms of CO2 reduction in Porto Santo, Thomas?
Yes, of course. I mean, every hour the diesel generator doesn't run, and you can calculate the efficiency very easily. It's basically the thermal efficiency of a diesel generator, which is, by the way, not so good. I was building that stuff in my previous life. So this is basically the direct impact on the energy side. And on the mobility side, the same thing. Use the kilometers that were driven with the car and replace it by a zero emission power from wind and solar. That's the impact on the mobility side. And I'm not talking about another benefit, which is we do not need to invest in further grid systems. That's usually the issue, also particularly in Germany and other parts. When you do build wind farms and other stuff, then you need to upgrade the grid usually. With this technology, you don't have to do that. The existing grid usually is good enough. Actually, sometimes we use less grid than before. We call this vehicle is grid, which means at the end of the day, you consume the energy where it's needed. So there are main benefits on the energy and the mobility side and on the infrastructure side.
Thank you. This is a question for both of you, I think. What are the key success factors for this kind of ecosystem, Yasmine?
From a technical point of view, I think that what will bring the bidirectional cars, it's very important. That's from the technical side. If we want to use really the cars as a part of the electricity system, and if you want to have more renewable generators, actually, yeah, it's true that the more wind we have, the more intermittency we have, and we need storage. And the storage is, the car will become a storage on wheel. So that is, from a technical point of view, I think it's important that technology continues and we go beyond just charging at the right time. We need also to be able to discharge the car and use it. So this is a key success factor, I think, for to have it bigger. And the concept of Porto Santo, it's quite simple to say. People are driving 20 kilometers a day. That's not a lot. The electric vehicle embark something for 395 for the Zoe, 400 kilometer, I would say, autonomy, and the guy is using only 20. So what can we do with the rest of this capacity? And to make it happen, we have to have the technology that will bring this. And so that is from technical point of view, on at least for a car manufacturer side, and the rest I let Thomas explain. And then the other success factor is, again, explaining to our customers, having them on board, but also having a push for governments until probably 30 or something. We still need the push from governments to help on regulation. We still need help from investors to make it happen. And then I think in a few years that will be everywhere.
Thomas, a little bit of information from your side, maybe on the key success factors of this project?
Well, I'm totally relaxed on that one. If I talk to my kids, they say, of course, what else? So I think the key success factor is get rid of the old white men like myself, put it to the next generation, and they will do it. Do it. There is no reason not to do it right now. Technology is in place. So any island can be transferred today. Just get started.
Great. So what are the next steps in Porto Santo, Thomas?
Well, more cars. At the end of the day, more cars, and the solar system is there, the technology is there, and we will definitely face other issues which we don't know yet, but we will solve them. Get more cars on the island, communicate. Curiosity is a good thing. The next generation, they want that kind of stuff. They want to see the island emission-free, and I'm looking forward to a celebration on the island when we shut down the last diesel generator, hopefully without Corona, so we can meet in person.
That would be great. You're right. How are the two VTG Zoe? How the two VTG Zoe contribute to this ecosystem? How does the two VTG Zoe contribute to this ecosystem?
The two bidirectional cars, so V2G means a car can also absorb but give back energy to the grid. So I just said before, the most important thing is that this technology helps to bring cars, but then to how can I say, to share the battery with the utility company. The utility company should buy the battery, and the user will use the car for its mobility. So that's where we will get really what we call an affordable car. So when I say they will buy it, maybe they will not buy it, but they will pay for it. I don't know. We have to find the right business model. But the fact is that the vehicle-to-grid today, we have only two. We have demonstrated the technology. We have demonstrated that it works, that technology provider like the mobility house can control them. Every second, they can take the energy from the battery and take it out. So that has a real impact for the full scale, I would say, solution.
Is it possible to estimate how many years the second life batteries will remain efficient and useful?
Yeah, so I can bring an answer here from the analysis that we have done and the studies that we have done. We can double the whole life cycle of the battery, approximately 10 years in the car, and the same thing outside.
Okay, so we're talking about 20 years. Thomas, you're nodding.
Yes, I mean, this is the results so far are not just promising, but much more than that. Basically, in this case, Renault tells us what's the best status of the battery. And we call it, we massage the battery. So you tell us the battery likes it full, the battery likes it empty, the battery likes a lot of cycles, maybe depending on the temperature, maybe depending on the age, maybe depending on technology. So out of that information, we then make sure that we do the right thing with the battery. And as you said before, if it's a car and we don't want too much cycles on it, what we do is we basically keep the battery there and as a kind of insurance. If something is happening, then we would come in with a car. So usually for those kind of services, the battery isn't even used. But still, it's very valuable to have these batteries on the grid. So there are different purposes with different use cases for different batteries. If you understand all that, then you can create a lot of value out of that batteries without jeopardizing any lifetime. Actually, we have another project going on where we see that the state of health, meaning the quality of the battery, is increasing while we do this massage. Why is this possible? Because usually people like myself, when they come back home, they plug in the car and fill it up to 100%, which is not always good. So we make sure that we have the best state of charge at any point in time. Again, here we start. This is just the beginning, but there are so much things that can be improved. And I'm very, very confident that we see these batteries many, many years on the grid before we have to finally recycle them, if at all, during our lifetime.
Thank you, Thomas. This is the last question. What is the impact in terms of energy cost for the inhabitants? Do they have to pay more? We haven't actually attacked this question, so it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a very good one. Do they have to pay more? For sure not. They don't have to pay more, they have to pay less. This is the whole process that we have started with Electricity of Madeira to now quantify all the gain. So we can, so the inhabitant will really see the effect in their energy bill. And this is an ongoing process. I don't have any numbers, unfortunately, to tell you, but the whole goal is that they will charge for free. At the end of the day, they will charge the electric car for free.
Great. Thomas is agreeing. Anything to add?
Well, the price is zero. Why should people pay for energy? It's there anyway. Sun is shining for free. So why would I pay for energy? So the price must be zero.
Great.
I'm very serious.
No, we see. Yes, very serious. Well, listen, this was a really rich discussion. Thank you very much to both of you. All of you that sent us through the questions
Thomas.
as well. Thank you to you, Thomas. It was great to have you with us. We would have loved to have had you with us here in Meudon, but next time, shall we say. Thanks for all of you for watching this morning. And of course, if you want to find all our information, it's on our website, eways.groupe.renault.com. eways.groupe.renault.com. Thanks so much. Take care. And we will see you later on in the day. Goodbye.